What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Jake with PackMan Sports, coming back to you guys with my very first early 2021 Green Bay Packers 53-man roster prediction. I'm going to be doing two separate predictions here, one at the very beginning of camp, and then the last one will be right before the Packers are able to make all their cuts down to the 53-man roster to see who makes it. So as you can see right here, I have all of the cuts here on this Excel spreadsheet, and then the 53-man roster prediction will be here right now. I like to be able to go over to the list of some notable players that I have predicted to be released on offense, defense, and special teams. These special teams people here are probably not too surprising. J.J. Molson and Ryan Winslow here being cut on special teams shouldn't be too much of a surprise, as that Mason Crosby and J.K. Scott have won their respective spots as special teams players, with Hunter Bradley being locked in as the long snapper for the Green Bay Packers. But right now, here's who I have for my list of players on offense and defense here, with a few surprises here. With notably being Oren Burks being somewhat of a surprise. I have him being cut just simply because I just don't really believe that Oren is really. I just don't know what's going on with him. He just hasn't really been able to develop into becoming a key player on defense. He has seen very much limited time during his time here as a Green Bay Packer, but he has been a very good special teams player. But I think the Packers already have a whole bunch of special teams players, so that's why I believe that they can safely cut Oren due to that. And with some other players on defense here that might be a little bit surprising, Henry Black, the free safety. I like Henry. I love his upside, but I think he's a good developmental player, and I think he could very well continue to become that player. And don't surprise if he makes practice squad and he does get elevated at some point to be on the roster. The same thing can go with Kavion Ento as well as Tipa Nole. The reason why I have Tipa not making it is probably because he's a developmental prospect, but he certainly has the upside to become a pretty good player on their defense at some point. But I just don't really quite believe that he's quite ready yet. I have heard some good things about him, and that's really about it. And for the players on offense here, Benkert, he is somebody that I really think could make a very good practice squad player. But I think, to be honest with you guys, I think he's probably just a camp arm. Even though I really, really, truly believe that that Kurt could be added in there as the third quarterback. That's a very real possibility. Patrick Taylor, the running back, he's somebody that I have my eye on for the preseason. So, but I think he's probably just going to be the odd man out between between the other four running backs that are going to make the roster. I just believe that it's just due to experience. And with the wide receivers here, Reggie Begelton, Chris Blair are probably pretty good prime candidates to be able to make practice squad, especially Begelton. I've heard some good things about him going out for camp. He's done a pretty good job so far. Malik Taylor, he made the 53-man roster last year due to his blocking ability, but I think we have such a crowded wide receiver backfield that's leading me to think that Malik may not make it this time, especially with the addition of Randall Cobb, so that's going to complicate things. And Devin Funchess returning back from COVID is probably going to push him off the roster, but I believe that Malik will have a very good chance to make practice squad for the Packers this season. Tompkins, like I said, crowded receiver backfield, don't think he has it. Jawan Rinfree, I really, really, really like Juwann. I'm hearing a whole lot of great things about Juwann for this preseason. He has been lights out, especially going back as far back as minicamp. And he's somebody that I really, really like, but I think the Packers might have to cut him because it's really crowded. And there's a good possibility he can come back on the practice squad. Let's see, some of the newcomer, Daniel Crawford, the tight end. He was brought in because there was a tight end that just retired a few days ago. Bronson Kofusi, he's like a converted defensive end that went to tight end. I think he has a little bit of something there, but I think he's a good practice squad candidate. Same thing with Isaac Nada, even though I think he provides a lot of versatility as like a fullback tight end type of player. The offensive tackles go here. I don't think I have to explain too much. Coy Cronk, very much a long shot to make it. Cole Van Lanen, I believe, will probably be a practice squad addition, as he was a late round pick, and I think he's a very good developmental prospect. That's usually what the Packers like to do. They like to draft late round offensive tackles, guards, centers, and then develop them on practice squad before giving them a chance to be able to get their feet wet on a 53-man roster in years 2 or 3. Josh Needman is somebody that I really wanted to have on the 53-man roster, but I think now that with the addition of Dennis Kelly, I think that's probably going to push Josh right off, but he has a good chance to make practice squad. As well as with these guards here, Capra, Dietzen, and Ben Braden, all those guys are pretty good developmental type of guys, but I do think that they are going to be pretty good practice squad candidates, especially Ben Braden, who I think is an underrated player. And now going back to the defense here, the newly acquired Josh Avery probably going to be cut. I think he's just a camp guy. Jack Heflin, probably a camp guy, probably going to cut him. Carlo Kemp, same thing with him. Wellington Prevalon was a pretty decent player that was actually able to do a few things last year and made the practice squad. I think he'll be a practice squad addition again. I already went over Oren Burks, Dejon Harris, Ray Wilborn. They are going to be some guys that have some potential to make the practice squad, but will ultimately be cut. Same thing with Delante Scott, the outside linebacker. And let's see, Stanford Samuels III. He is one of those cornerbacks that is made the practice squad last year, and I expect him to possibly be a practice squad addition again this year. Innis Gaines and Christian Uphoff are some safeties here that could possibly sneak their way onto the 53-man roster, especially Christian Uphoff. And now onto the 53-man roster here. For the offense, this is not too much to explain here. The quarterbacks, A-Rod and J-Love, I think that there's probably going to be 2 quarterbacks to start things out for the 53-man roster initially, with the possibility of Kurt Benkert or another quarterback possibly being the third guy. This year we'll go with 2 quarterbacks as of now. And the Packers here with 4 running backs, going with 4 running backs here, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Kylan Hill, and Dexter Williams. The Packers love to use running backs. I think this is probably going to be where Dexter is going to be able to make the roster, along with Kylan Hill and the two-headed monster of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Very excited to see what our running backs can do for this season. As for wide receivers, we like to go with a ton of receivers, and we sure have a ton of them right now on our roster. And I think we're going to go with these 7 guys here: Devontae Allen, Randall, Marquez, Amari, Devin, and Equinemius St. Brown. I think I have those 7 guys making the roster as of now. For tight ends here, I'm going to go with 3 for now because Jay Sternberger is going to be on the suspended list. In fact, I have him listed here because he's going to be suspended for 2 games for violating the rules. I think he was busted with some kind of PEDs, or if it was, I had forgotten about that, and I almost put him on the list here. But here's how the tight ends are going to be as of now. When Jace is set to return off being suspension, he will be on the 53-man roster to be along with Robert Tonyan here, Big Dog Mercedes Lewis, and Dominic Daphne. So I think that Dominic Daphne will make the roster because Jace will be on the suspended list. For offensive tackles here, we got David, Billy, Dennis, and Royce Newman. So I think that we are going to go with 4 offensive tackles because we know that Billy can kick to guard. We know that Royce Newman, he probably has the skill set to be an offensive tackle, but may have to kick to guard in the pros. So there's all kinds of options here for our offensive tackles. And our guards here, Elton Jenkins, Lucas Patrick, and John Runyon Jr. And our centers, I believe that we are going to have Josh Myers be our starter here. There's a lot of good things that have been said about Josh. And then Jake Hansen, our former 6th-round pick from 2 years ago, finally makes the roster here as a backup center. And now to the defense here, where we have Dean Lowry, Kingsley Keke, and Tyler Lancaster making it as our 3-4 defensive ends. But I am hoping that the Packers are going to be able to open up their wallet and possibly bring in a veteran defensive end to be able to help out Kenny Clark at nose tackle and to be able to get some veteran presence there. We got a whole bunch of young guys. It is my hope that maybe there's going to be another name here in this defensive ends column. And the outside linebackers love the group. I absolutely love this group to death with the Smith brothers, Z and P, Rashawn Gary, I have heard a lot of great things about him. so far in camp. He has been a wrecking crew. He has been a one-man wrecking crew here in Green Bay, and I think he's going to take that next step and become a really, really big piece to the outside linebacking group and be able to spell one of the Smith brothers whenever they need to come out. Probably Preston, because I think he could be on a little bit of a limited snap count by having somewhat of a down year, but I really hope that Preston is going to be able to take his game back up to the level it was from 2019, and the linebacking group, the pass rushing group, can be absolutely stellar this season. And then we have Jonathan Garvin, last year's 7th round rookie. He was able to play a little bit at the beginning of the season, but then as the season went out, but as the season went on, his snaps became a little bit lesser because I think we just want to slowly bring along the young and promising Jonathan Garvin along. And then for the inside linebacking group here, very crowded. We have lots of guys, young guys, that are just waiting to be able to being groomed and then take that next step into becoming some really, really good group of veteran inside linebackers. Starting with Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin. Both of those guys have very good upside, especially Chris Barnes. Barnes was an undrafted free agent that I was hoping that we were probably going to either draft him in the late rounds from 2 years ago or get him as an undrafted free agent. Kamal Martin, he certainly has the speed, the talent to be able to become a pretty good player here. There are some things about him that I really have some caution on him. So I think he's a player to slowly bring along. So far, I'm hearing that he is behind some of these players here on the inside linebacker group, and he's being used as an outside linebacker as like a little bit of an experiment. Kamal does have that speed to be able to go rush downhill and go get the quarterback, and that's one of the things I like about his game. But when it comes to an overall skill set, being able to play in coverage, that is something that I'm kind of leery of. Kamal is very much a work in progress, but I do love the man's upside, and he can only get better from here. Devondre Campbell, I'm really see a lot of really good things about him. He has the speed to be able to cover sideline to sideline, but has struggled at times in the run game. But I'm hearing a lot of good things about Devondre, so I'm very encouraged to hear some good things. Ty Summers, Isaiah McDuffie, the rookie, they're going to fill out for depth. For cornerbacks, this is pretty simple. Jair, Kevin, Chandon. We got Eric Stokes. And I believe that the last 3 guys here on the list are probably a little bit up for debate on how things are going to be going. Josh Jackson is very much on the bubble. I think that he might be given one last chance here if he has a really good camp. Kadar Holman, he is a former 6th round cornerback that has had a little bit of playing time, not very much, hasn't shown too much. But I really do like his speed and his play on special teams for him to be able to have a pretty good chance to make it. Shamar Jean Charles, he's going to make it because he was just drafted in the 5th round, so I think he's going to be able to be in the mix to be able to play inside and outside along with the group here. I think we go with 7 cornerbacks. And for our safeties, I'm going to go with 4 for now. Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage Jr., Will Redmond, and Vernon Scott. So I think that this is going to round it out to about 53 players. I think I went back and triple checked to see if there's 53 people. But this is my 53-man roster for now for the Green Bay Packers. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, who are some of the players that you disagree with that are not going to make it, or or some players that are going to make the 53. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new to the channel, and if you want more Packer content like this, join on in. I'll catch you guys later for another video. Go Pack Go.